Hi guys, in this tutorial I'm going to be sharing how to draft this mermaid skirt with extension at the back. If this is something you like to learn how to do, then you should see this tutorial up until the very end. My name is Ayomide and I post DIY sewing tutorials on this channel. For this tutorial, you're going to be needing the following measurements: waist measurement, hip measurement, waist to hip measurement, waist to knee, and your full length. Moving on, it is now time to draft the pattern. I've got my pattern paper right here, and the very first measurement I'm going to be placing is my waist to hip measurement, and that's a 7 inches. Next, I'm going to be marking my waist to knee measurement and I'm going for 20 inches. For this, I deducted 3 inches from my actual waist to knee. So if your waist to knee is 23, take out 3 inches and mark out 20 inches. That was what I did. After that, I'm going to be marking the full length. So my full length is 43, but because I want this to be really long, I'm adding an extra 3 inches and that will make it 46. It is now time to place my horizontal measurements. I'm placing a quarter of my waist measurements plus 1 inch that and 1.5 inch side seam allowance. Next, I'll move on to the hip line and place a quarter of the hip measurement and the side seam allowance. I'm going to be connecting them together. Afterwards, I would move over to the knee line and I'm going to be measuring what I have on the hip line. Take out about 1.2 to 1.5 inch away. So I'm taking a 1.2 inch away, but if you want it to be very fitted, take out 1.5 inch away and then mark that down. Moving on to the full length, I'll be measuring what I have on my knee line. Place that measurement down on the full length line. Then from that mark, I'm going to be marking an additional 8 inches. This is going to be how much I'm going to be spreading. You can mark more than this though. I will then connect that to my knee point. So before I connect, I will be marking half an inch beneath the knee line. Replicate the measurements I have on the knee line and then connect to that half an inch point first of all. Thereafter, I will use the curvy part of my pattern master to create a curve around that line. I did this so that I won't be having a sharp point around that edge. Also, before I finish off this pattern, I'm going to be creating a curve at this part of my pattern. I will mark 1.5 inches above and then use the curvy part of my pattern master to create a curve inward this way. This will take out that sharp point. Before cutting out the pattern, I'm going to be marking half an inch beneath the waistline, connect it to the side and then cut out my pattern. Guys, this is my pattern after I am done. This is the front pattern. This pattern is ready to go. I'm going to be modifying this pattern also for the back. So before I modify this for the back, I'm going to be cutting this out on my fabric first of all, then proceed to modify it for the back. This is the fabric of choice I'm going to be working on. It is a brocade fabric. It came in 3 yards, but it came in separately, 2 yards and 1 yard. So I'm going to be cutting out the front pattern on the 1 yard fabric. Here I folded the fabric into 2 and I'm just going over to pin my pattern well on the fabric. I'm going to be adding half an inch to the hem. And also half an inch will be added to the waistline too. I'm not going to be adding side seam allowance, and that's because the side seam allowance has been added on the pattern. Thereafter, I'll go ahead and cut this out. After cutting out, guys, this is what my skirt pattern is looking like. So I'm going to be keeping this aside and now focus on the back. For the back pattern, I have added an extra fabric along the center part of this pattern. This right here is my center. So this is going to be my center back now, since I'm using this pattern for the back. And I've added extra pattern to the hem and also extra pattern paper towards the center back of this pattern. This line I'm drawing is just to let me know that this right here is my center back. So the first measurement I'm going to be taking is my zipper allowance, and I'm going over to mark 1.2 inch for my zipper allowance, and that will be ending on the knee line. Thereafter, I'm going to be marking an extension from the hem of the pattern, and I'm going to be marking 7 inches beneath the hem. You can mark more than this, but the more you mark, the wider your flare at the back would be. So I'm rolling that into a straight line. After that, I'm still going to be marking my center back downwards just to serve as a guide. So this line right here is still the continuation of my center back line. Next, I'm going to be marking an extension towards this part of my pattern, and I'm going to be going for 9 inches. You can mark as well as 10 inches, but 9 inches is fine. I'll connect that 9 inches to the zipper allowance I have on the knee line. After that, I'll come towards the side of the pattern right here at the back, and right from the edge of the pattern, I'm going to be creating a curve that would slit into the center back this way. So I'll use my hand to create a curve first of all, and once I'm done with what I have, I'll use my pattern master to smoothen the curve. After doing that, I'm going to be marking 1 inch upward from here just to eliminate any sharpness and connect. So guys, in this manner, my back pattern is ready to be cut out. I'm going to be cutting this out. So guys, if you draft out your back pattern this way, your back pattern is ready to be cut out on your fabric. However, you can take it a step further by doing some shaping along the center back, and for this I'm just going to be adding an extra pattern paper towards the side of my pattern. This is actually not compulsory, but you can do this if you just want to take it a step further. To begin the shaping along the center back, I'll be marking 1 inch inward for my center back this way. I would replace that same measurement towards the side. Moving on to the knee line, I would also mark 1 inch inward from the knee line and replace that measurement along the side of the knee. Next, I'm going to be connecting those measurements that I marked. So I'm going to be connecting this part of my center back to this part of my side back on the hip line. I will thereafter connect this part to the knee line. After that, I'm going to be redrawing this flare here because we took out some measurements. Thereafter, I'll move on to the side and redraw my hip line for the back, and also reconnect towards the side, and thereafter complete the shaping along the flare too. So guys, after doing this is what I have for the back. I'll be taking out this extra pattern that I marked out. And guys, I have my back pattern ready to be cut out on my fabric. So this is just one of the ways in which you can achieve an extension at the back of your mermaid skirts. To cut this out on my fabric, I had to do this on the floor because of the nature of what I'm cutting, and my table is not wide enough. I've folded my fabric into two, and here I'm just going over to pin it down well on my fabric. After pinning, I'll proceed to cut this out while making sure that I account for the seam allowance at the waistline and also at the hem. And guys, I made this into a dress, as you can see. If you found this tutorial helpful, kindly give it a huge thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please click on the subscribe button down below, turn on your notifications, and I'll see you all in my next video.